when we were meeting, I'll begin with the territorial acknowledgement that we are meeting in Ottawa on the unceded, uncharted territory of Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, whose presence here reaches back to time immemorial. So I'm very excited because we have a very strong panel today, and the good news is that all of them are connected and they've been working behind the scene trying to align their thoughts and what they're going to present today. And about a month, more than a month ago, when our Rapid Response Committee, when we were meeting, we were not sure what theme we are going to pick for this meeting and how that would go, but whatever happened since then is very helpful and encouraging. So I'll share that with you in a moment, but I'll begin with a very quick update on the work that we have done to date. So mostly our work revolved around submitting grant proposals to different funders. We have submitted 4 in total, 1 to the Provincial Immigration Ministry. That was in collaboration with the Ottawa Child and Youth Initiative. And the objective is to train and work with the youth workers, frontline workers about diversity and inclusion. And that work will be happening in partnership with Ottawa Child and Youth Initiative. The second one went to Canadian Race Relation Foundation. And that's along the same lines. The third one is to the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council. That's a research project focused on lived experiences of racialized minorities and comparative approaches between the rural and the urban communities. And the last one we submitted to Community Resilience Fund. That's also a research grant that's going to be focusing on religious and politically motivated extremism. That would be an applied research project. And we'll be working both in Ottawa and the rural areas. But the interesting thing about these grants that we have submitted is that we have adopted a unique approach. So in terms of the business case, the issue, the solutions, the strategies, and the outcome, they're exactly the same that we have been discussing with our coalition partners for the past several years now. So that was the basis of all these grants, what we have heard from the coalition members. But what we have done is that we have left the implementation, the specific activities and roles and responsibilities a portion flexible. So for any of these grants, when it comes about, then we'll be convening a steering group which will be making all these key decisions together, right? So please stay tuned for that. We'll be sending a message to the coalition members whenever we have the good news from any of these grants, and then we'll convene the steering table and take it from there. And before we move on, I'll quickly ask our communications lead, Haley Roberto, to give us a quick update on the work that she has been doing for the coalition related to the communications.
Awesome, thanks, Abid. Good morning, everyone. Monique, if you can pin my face as well. There we go. I have microphone issues on my computer, so I'm here twice today. Good morning, everyone. My name is Haley Roberto. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for Community Initiatives at United Way East Ontario. And as Abid mentioned, I've been supporting the communications capacity of United for All for a few months now. So one of the initiatives I wanted to mention today is you will see in your inbox next week a new newsletter that we're launching on behalf of the coalition for our coalition members and champions. We'll also, after we soft launch a couple of these with the group, open these up to our community as well for people who are interested in following along with this work and learning and contributing. So the goal of this newsletter is basically for us to share resources and opportunities between each other about United for All's mission, to showcase the impact and the momentum around some of this work, to provide learning opportunities and educational resources around this collaboration and work that we're doing, and to also showcase the impact stories of what this looks like for positive change in our communities. So one of the other pieces is that I think last week, most of you may have received an email from Abid with a draft statement for the UN Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, with tools to kind of customize for your own organization in aligning with this work. So we also want to use the newsletter to support additional communications capacity opportunities like that in the future. So you will see some resources come through in there as well. And so I do have a small ask of you today. I'm going to put an email address in the chat. We've set up an email for this newsletter to come from, United for All at unitedwayeo.ca. And this is on behalf of the coalition. So while we're taking the kind of setup and administration of this email, I want to hear about your initiatives and your progress and your work that you'd like to share with others, and we can insert it in the newsletter as well. 1 to 2 sentences is fine, or just a link, and I can do my own research to summarize those pieces for the group. So yeah, once we get this off the ground, we'll ask if you want to share it with your networks as well, and we're open to feedback on how this lands and kind of evolving it to make sure that it's useful for you as partners in this coalition, to make sure that it's useful and you find value in this information that you're receiving. So I will pop this email address into the chat, and if you have any questions or concerns, comments, ideas for me throughout the course of the meeting, you can send me a chat as well. That's all from me, Abid.
Thank you so much, Kelly. So let's move on to the next segment, which is a standing item of our meetings, which is getting an update and a bit of context about hate crimes from Ali Tovrel from OPES. And today that's going to make a bit more sense because the rest of the presentations are going to make reference to whatever we hear from Ali. So Ali, over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Abby. Thanks for having us. I'll jump in there quickly. I know there's limited time, just in case there's some questions as well. So we released our stats on March 4th for 2021, and our numbers were up 37% compared to the same time period last year. We went from 180 files to criminal files to 260. But I know previously there was a request to make sure that we add all the actual reports that came in. So in total, we got 340 reports in 2021. And from that 340, we deemed 260 of them deemed to be criminal in nature. We charged 26 individuals with 92 counts of various criminal offenses. And we also issued 9 formal warnings and 2 warnings to youth, which is part of the process for youth. That first step is usually a YCJA warning. On top of that activities, our outreach activities we're very active in that. We finally were able to train all the Ottawa Housing security officers on hate crimes and the appropriate way that we would want the reports to be taken and what constitutes a hate bias incident or a hate crime. We also trained the new OC Transport security officers. We had plans to extend the same training to the OPP and to military police in our region, but unfortunately with the last lockdown that we had, that's been pushed, but we're hoping to get that going in late spring, early summer. That is it in terms of trends. We obviously the convoy created some problems as well. We had about 15 reports of hate incidences. They're almost all of them were harassment in terms of women and racialized members of the community being targeted for wearing masks. It was kind of sad that there's a group here who's trying to fight for their freedoms of not wearing a mask, but at the same time they're attacking or targeting people who want to wear a mask. Mm-hmm. So we have some files that are still ongoing on top of the obvious stuff that were there with the Nazi flag, the Confederate flags, and sadly people wearing the yellow Star of David on their shirts. So we had those investigations as well. That is it for me. I know I don't want to take too much time, but I'll leave it. I think I have a couple of minutes in case there's any questions. But like I said, that's our year-end numbers. We will have, again, our semi-annual one that will come out in probably August.
Thank you so much, Ali. So are you staying with us? Because I'm thinking that once we open it up for question and answers after the first two presentations, then if there are any questions, then we'll bother you.
For sure.
Good. Okay. All right.